held roles from resident engineer to project coordinator to project manager. How did each of this transition shape your leadership style and technical expertise?
You see, as I mentioned earlier, I got an opportunity to work in different sectors. I had experience in industrial structures, roads and bridges, roads, then even nuclear power plants. What else? And I had a brief stint in marketing as well, marketing of low relaxation strands and ceramic steel fibers. So these were two civil engineering products. So I did the market development for that in India. So the experience was wide. So, and as a project coordinator, I also got an opportunity to get associated with the planning of field investigations and surveys for the road projects, do design coordination. So all this experience, it came in handy for me when I assumed the position of resident engineer or project manager. And then I had exposure, I had a chance to work in many countries. So the experience of dealing with different people, different work cultures, different codes and specifications. So all this experience, I think it contributed to the development of my leadership qualities and technical expertise.
How do you adapt to different regularity environments and construction practices?
You see, as far as the codes or the regulations are concerned, environmental regulations or even health and safety, they are very similar to what we have in India. So adaptation to a different code doesn't pose a very big problem. I think the difference lies in the degree of implementation. Like at least two of the projects which I did in Africa, one was funded by the World Bank, the other one was by African Development Bank. And the difference, these funding agencies or donor agencies, they attach a huge importance to environmental protection, health and safety, your interactions with the local, you have to comply with the labor laws, social engineering. So these are given absolutely top importance. So if the contractor is found non-compliant, they don't hesitate to shut down the project. So this is the difference. But what I have experienced in Africa, that because of the gap between the completion of the detailed engineering and the actual implementation. You see, at the time of detailed engineering, one may or may not have the tender documentation and specifications. Now, when it comes for implementation, the employer himself might be drafting the conditions of contract and preparing the tender, or they might hire a consultant. So what happens is, whatever is there in the DPR, the provisions in the detailed project report, as far as these environmental protection, social engineering or social interaction, it does not get included in the tender document. So then it becomes very difficult to implement. Like when the missions come, World Bank mission or the African Development Bank mission, when they find non-compliances, there is no provision in the contract to make the contractor comply. So, then the client has to step in and allow variations to the contract. Normally, I'll tell you where in one of the projects, I did a project in Liberia. So there was a lot of provision for the community liaison. So as per the contract, the contractor was supposed to provide a community liaison officer, CLO as they call it. So this was one Liberian lady who was very proactive. she used to, communicate with different communities. The project affected persons. Somebody might have lost his land for the road works. So she was very proactive. But then their demands and the compensation or what they might want, that was not in line. It was not covered under the contract. So okay, then the client has to, sanction additional amounts. And there is also this conflict management. Now the same lady, the CLO, she had a problem with my ARE, the assistant resident engineer. And she directly complained to the district authority. They have a traditional council now, which consists of all elders. There are tribes, different tribes in Liberia. So this traditional council comprises of all elders and all. So this lady, without discussing the issue with the resident engineer, she directly complained, and we were summoned there. The ARE and I had gone there. So the ARE apologized and all. He said, But what the traditional council did, they issued an order to us, to the supervision consultants, forbidding the ARE to work in that district. So we wrote to the ministry that, okay, look, they have no jurisdiction over us. So if at all, we have to demobilize somebody, the instruction has to come from you. Surprisingly, the ministry did not intervene. And finally, we had to demobilize. So these are some, tricky situations where probably, even the government, they are helpless. But as far as the work is concerned, or the supervision consultant's work is concerned, they take a hit. The work takes a hit because one important person is not there for supervision. So it happens sometimes. So while there are provisions, these are the offshoots, some problems which occur.
What was your thought on agreeing to such a remote project?
Okay, we have one son. So after he did his, he completed his studies in Mumbai, he went overseas. He went to Australia in 2007. So that was somewhere in the month of July. So, and I got this offer from WSP IMC around that time. So, I did not want a situation where, I'll be in Africa, my wife would be here, and our son will be in Australia. So there was, no reason for me not to accept this. And of course, at the time of going there, internet was not as readily available. Otherwise, you can just Google Earth and see where the project, and then take a call. So then I said, okay, let me go. Let me give it a try. So that's how it started, my African journey, So the benchmark was set so low. It was a very, very tough project. So I was sure that any other projects, would be much better than this as far as living conditions or other, the remoteness, the communication, they would be much better. And to tell you something more about the Ethiopian project, against all odds, the contractor completed the Blue Nile Bridge only to be submerged by this great Renaissance dam, which the government had planned to the downstream, because nobody knew about it, because it was such a top secret thing, because they have a treaty, which is a 100-year-old treaty, Ethiopia and the downstream nations, which is Sudan and Egypt. So there is a treaty which was done in the British time. that Ethiopia they cannot construct a dam across Blue Nile, because the water flow to the downstream countries would be affected. So that's how top secrecy was maintained about this project. The roads department did not know that this dam is coming up. So we almost completed this project only to know that no, it would get submerged after the dam is completed. Now I believe the dam is complete. The reservoir has been filled up completely. So this bridge would have got submerged under 70 meters of water. So, I feel very bad about it, because we sweated it out there. Everybody, not only the supervision team, but the contractor as well. So this is how it ended up there.
Let's talk about the future of construction and infrastructure, whether it's digital innovation, sustainability, or global collaboration.
I think the future is bright in India. There have been so many mega projects, iconic projects, which are currently in progress or have been completed in the recent past. The Chenab railway bridge, I think everybody knows about it. The highest bridge in the world, railway bridge. So that is one bridge. High-speed railway for the bullet train, that is in progress. Then recently this Mumbai Coastal Road project, it got virtually completed. It has been commissioned, only I believe the promenade works are remaining. So and also the metro projects in tier 1 cities to even tier 2 cities. Metros, underground metro projects, which are extensively using tunnel boring machines. So TBMs, in the earlier days, it was a rarity. TBM, it's a very expensive piece of equipment. It was not very often that you heard about a tunnel being constructed by the TBM method. It was more in the hydropower sector rather than the roadworks. But now here, today, if you see in Mumbai, you have got this GMLR, Goregaon Mulund Link Road. So it has got a twin tube tunnel. This Borivali Thane, that tunnel work is in progress. So TBMs are extensively being used. To go a step further, today all this equipment is being imported from Germany or China. Given the scale of the projects and the speed at which they are coming, I think the next logical step would be that TBMs should be manufactured in India. We have capability, I'm very sure about it. Companies like L&T, they have the capability. And then on these projects, since there is some interface with the foreign companies or nations, like high-speed railway, there are Japanese. So the latest management techniques, project management techniques, are being used on many of these projects. So Indian engineers are getting exposed to the latest construction techniques, the latest project management techniques. So I believe it's a bright future.
How do you manage stakeholder expectations and navigate potential conflicts between various parties?
Normally, the contract documentation, the contract documents are very specific, and they address all the potential conflicts or disputes that might be there during the execution of the project between the contractor and the engineer, between the contractor and the employer. So most of these projects which are tendered on an international competitive bidding basis, you invite ICB, international competitive bids. These are based on FIDIC documents as to how to address the claims, the disputes. There are dispute review boards which are specified in the contract. Even if the contractor is not in agreement with the decision of the DRB, as it is called, then the final step is arbitration. So these provisions are all there.
What are your thoughts on Gen Zs?
Well, Gen Z is very intelligent, very impatient. They want quick results. So, but unfortunately, the civil engineering line is more about sweating. So there are no shortcuts. In different projects, you come across different problems, technical problems, then the human relations problems. Everything is different. So, I have found that youngsters who don't know anything about construction, they apply for jobs with consultants. So when I interview them, I always tell them, first you work with a contracting company. Learn how things are really done. Then you will be a better person in a consultant team. You know how it is done. The contractor cannot fool you.
So starting from zero, you see the groundwork, field work.
Yeah.
Then you come into the upper ladder of management.
Yeah. You see, I'll tell you, I experienced, as I said, the Ethiopian project was my first project with the Chinese. So the Chinese are, firstly the language barrier. They will just, stare at you. They will say yes. But then, you cannot be sure if they are doing like this, whether they have really understood. So, and these guys judge you. And they will respond and respect you only if they know that you know the subject as well as they do or better than them. Only then they fall in line. Otherwise, they are very tough people to work with.
Sir, do you wish to talk about any other topic which we might have missed?
No, I talked about that abutment. So it's basically it is the way one looks at things. If you are restricting your vision, okay, this is my bridge, and I am doing the foundations in this area, right? So if you have a very myopic outlook, so you will never see that, you will never be able to judge and assure yourself that at the end of the bridge is whether my design is correct or not. So this is a matter of experience, So since I was having adequate experience, I first set it out, the entire alignment between the two banks. So then, it was found that you have to increase one span. So which was done. So it comes with experience, it comes with the mindset, the way you think, everything contributes.
What do you have to say about Brenman's construction management program?
In my opinion, the concept is very correct. The purpose why this program is being undertaken, I think it's right on the dot. Because it is obvious that, when, let's say, engineers pass out from the college, there is a gap. There is a huge gap. They don't know how things are actually done in the field. I recollect my days, on my first project, even to handle the leveling instrument, it took some time and effort. In the college, they teach you, yes, there is some assignment that is given, and you do handle instruments, survey equipments, and complete an assignment, survey assignment. But when you actually go into the field, it is different. So the gap definitely exists. So it's not only with the young engineers who are passing out, even the engineers who are there in the field, who have few years of experience, they also do not have much knowledge. So this would definitely, I mean, if they undertake this course, this would definitely broaden their vision, and they would be familiar as to how projects are undertaken, how they're executed, how they're supervised. I think it would be a useful tool for the young engineers.
What do you think the audience would benefit from this video series?
Well, project management is a very generic type of course. I'm sure this will be supplemented by subject-specific courses or applications, what you might call, because those would address the processes. For an example, okay, you are doing a pile foundation. So how a pile foundation is done? So there should be specific segments. Let's say talk of a bridge. It's a marine bridge. How do you install the bridge there in marine segments? Do you launch it, or do you have, a big truss on which it is cast in situ? Which is better? Which are the different types of launching techniques? So all that, these are specific courses. So that will be, as a complementary to this. Then the whole area will be covered.